If you look at how the modern financial system works, you will notice something most people rarely think about. Almost every transaction in the world depends on a private ledger. The banks keep their own records, the payment company keep theirs, the governments keep another set. And every institution maintains its own version of the truth. And most of the time, we simply trust that these records match. But here is the problem. When money, assets, or contract move across borders or across institutions, these separate ledgers do not always align. And when they do not align, the system slows down. Verification takes time, reconciliation costs money, the trust becomes expensive. That is not a technical issue, it is a structural one. For centuries, finance has relied on centralized record keeping. A bank keeps the ledger, an exchange keep their ledger, a clearing house keep their ledger, and because these ledgers are private, every transfer require coordination. This works well inside one country, inside one banking system, inside one legal structure. But once a transaction becomes global, the friction becomes visible. A different time zone, different regulations, a different system that do not naturally talk to each other. So the question becomes, what if there were a shared ledger that everyone could see and no single institution controlled? That idea is the foundation of a blockchain. A public ledger does something very simple. It allows multiple parties to agree on the same record without needing a central authority to maintain it. Inside one institution holding the book exists across a network. Instead of trust being placed in one entity, the trust is distributed across the system. This doesn't eliminate institutions. It doesn't eliminate regulations, but it changes where verification happens from institutional trust to system level trust. Think about how information flows today. When you send an email, it doesn't need to pass through a single global authority to be verified. The network itself maintains the system. The blockchain is attempting something similar for value, not replacing banks overnight, not dismantling financial system, but introduce a new layer where transaction can be recorded, verified, and shared in a more open way. This is why the idea of a public ledger matters. Because as a finance becomes more digital, more global, and more interconnected, the cost of maintaining separate private records continue to rise. A shared infrastructure may not replace the existing system, but it can reduce friction within it. In the last episode, we asked what problem does the blockchain solve. Now we are starting to see the answer. It is not about speculation. It is not about tokens. It is about how the world keeps records of value and ownership. And once that record changes, finance itself begins to change. In the next episode, we move one step deeper. If blockchain is the new ledger, what system actually runs on top of it? Why does almost every serious conversation about blockchain eventually lead to one platform, Ethereum? Next episode, Ethereum, the operating system of finance.